What's Trending is presented by BYU Food to Go, the MVP of your next event. This just in. I haven't even talked to our crew about this. This just tweeted by the Big 12. We have the TV and times for 2 football games. Let's talk about it. BYU football taking on Colorado in the Big 12 opener on September 27th, 10:15 Eastern on ESPN. That is the preferred
the 8:15 kickoff.
Competitive time, right, for BYU football. And then if you thought 10:15 was late, just wait till Friday, October 3rd. BYU taking on West Virginia at 10:30 Eastern on ESPN. What's your reaction to mothership for both late kicks, Colorado and West Virginia in back-to-back weeks?
Yeah, we're used to this. This has been a very long time. We've seen this. This is nothing new for BYU. This is what they expected. This was quite honestly one of the selling points, too, for BYU being in the conference, is to give them those late windows. Now you obviously have other teams that are also in the same time zone.
Welcome to the party.
And 2 of them, only half the year, but still, you know what I'm saying.
Yes, I never know what time it is.
It's not a surprise at all, and I'm sure there will be many more of these late games.
Cougs Hunt at night, as we've talked about. BYU's
hey,
been
you're on
very
ESPN.
Good.
You're going to get
you're
a
on the
big
mothership.
audience.
That's to be expected on a Friday night. That's why you're on a Friday night, to be on ESPN. The Colorado game, nice on ESPN as well, obviously. They lose some massive pieces there. Those jerseys are retired controversially. Not Travis Hunter, but Shador, whatever. Yeah, I like it. It's great. So late kicks, 10:15 for Colorado, September 27th, 10:30 Eastern for BYU West Virginia on that Friday night. Nice of the league to acquiesce BYU's desires to avoid a game on conference weekend.
So 8:15 and 8:30 Eastern pre-games on BYU Radio and BYUtv.
There you go. Nice radio host of the pregame show. Okay, back to the regularly scheduled trending topic here. John Rothstein reports BYU hosts Wisconsin in the Delta Center in Salt Lake City on November 21st. We've mentioned that Robbie McCombs, who has a lot of news relative to BYU men's basketball scheduling, was the first to report that. It was probably happening. Here we go. Cougars beat the Badgers 91-89 in the second round of the NCAA tournament in Denver. Notably, that was a significant game in BYU history. The Cougars got to the Sweet 16 out of that. Now we've got the rematch. So, Jason, that's a great game, obviously, but my question is that the best game on the non-conference schedule?
A case can certainly be made for that. I think a lot of it will depend on your own version of what you consider the best. Is it going to be the best opponent? Is it the best overall opportunity? For me, I'm going to lean this way that it is for a couple of reasons. Number one, it's a really good team. You also have history that's very, very recent.
Yep.
You have a fan base that does typically travel. But the reason I think it sends it over the edge for me is because of all the other big-time games against big-time opponents. A lot of those are the MTEs in places like Vegas and Madison Square Garden.
Orlando.
This one, while not at home, is basically a home game being played at the Delta Center. So it's going to have much more of a home game feel than any of the others will in terms of the big-time opponents. So for that reason, I do think it is the best game on the schedule right now.
Can you imagine if they were say, we want actual neutral. We are meeting in Omaha. Okay, we'll just meet you right in the middle.
What is exactly right in the middle between
We're going to meet you in Laramie.
Yeah.
Okay, we're actually going to play that game in Laramie, but not against Wyoming. It is the best game, and for the reasons you mentioned, it's in Utah. The quality of the opponent. Remember, they were a 3 seed, 15 in net. Nobody's higher in net on BYU's non-conference schedule than Wisconsin. UConn's pretty good. You could argue, hey, the team that won 2 of the last 3 national championships, they were in the second round last year. They were 30 in net. That's in Boston at TD Garden. That's going to be pretty awesome. North Carolina in name value feels way up there, but it's an exhibition game. And North Carolina barely made the tourney. Like, they're not the same North Carolina they've been, but they always have that talent, right? Clemson is sneaky good. Like, I don't understand.
I thought you were going to say Delaware.
Delaware, the Blue Hens bring a really good backcourt.
What about Pacific? Bringing that old rivalry
Not a
back.
fan of any game against Pacific, frankly. Clemson is sneaky good. Let me tell you why. 25 in net. They were upset by McNeese in the first round, if you recall. That was a big upset. MSG, the world's most famous arena. To me, that's kind of the sneaky best game on the schedule there. Clemson in Madison Square Garden. But Wisconsin coming here is pretty awesome, and I agree with you. I do think it is the best game on the non-conference schedule. With that in mind, by the way, we have
more
12 of the 13, we think, so far, which is pretty awesome.
There are more game times that have just been announced.
Let's go. Pour them on me.
How about the season opener, August 30th, Portland State, ESPN Plus, 6 o'clock Mountain Time. So 8 Eastern on ESPN Plus.
Is that what Southern Illinois was last year? It feels very similar.
Yes, I believe that is the case. Stanford, September 6th, 8:15 Mountain Time. So another 10:15 start time against the Cardinal.
On what channel?
That one is on ESPN.
Okay. You're getting a lot of ESPN.
You mentioned the at Colorado. That obviously is there, and the West Virginia. So those are the other two that I have seen. So Stanford,
3 of the
Portland
first
State.
5 on ESPN.
Yeah. You have
just at ECU. I imagine that with the AAC, that could be a CBS Sports Network game. We'll see what ends up happening there.
Yeah, this is all happening as we're.
Yeah.
I mean, hey, we're a live show. You're going to get this kind of stuff, right?
I love the live element of that. Okay,
so there you go.
I like that. Stanford, you said 8:15.
Stanford
ESPN.
8:15. Portland State
in the Buckmeyer Bowl.
Yes, is at 6 o'clock kickoff on ESPN Plus. Everything else so far that has been announced is ESPN.
Yeah. Early take on Portland State. Hopefully it's not the 2017 was 20-7.
I remember, yeah. It was a very
and everyone's like, this is bad. We're like, it's game 1. No, it was bad.
Yeah, it turned out that was kind of a precursor.
It was bad. There are other games on the schedule, by the way, on the men's basketball schedule that we should mention. Robbie mentioning Holy Cross, Pacific, South Dakota, and UC Riverside, as you pointed out in the graphic. So UC Riverside, we're going to talk to Nate Pickens coming up. What does he think of the potential rematch? Again, these are reported. Holy Cross, that would be the first meeting ever. Of course, Pacific and BYU met a ton, 18 times. BYU lost 3 of those 18, 15-3 in the WCC era. And then BYU owes South Dakota a little something because in 2023, if you recall, 2022, BYU played them in the Delta Center and lost that game.
Right.
So bring in South Dakota, and they get a little something from a different group, okay? It's not the same team that lost 3 years ago. Let's go. So only one more game, conceivably, to add on the schedule. Looks pretty good so far.
Looks really good so far. Very exciting. All right, Big 12 coaches meetings were held this week in Orlando, which...
They're still going on, I think.
Yeah, still going on. Yeah, still going on. Still happening. Not a ton of actual, news coming out of it. There hasn't been any big changes. I think
they come out, they're like, we're adding men's volleyball.
Right. The biggest thing, and this really isn't something that's, we've known that the basketball conference schedule was going to go, it was originally at 18. Last year went up to 20. And everybody's like, yeah, that's probably a little too much. So they officially announced that it will go back to 18 this upcoming season.
Well, they did that in October.
Right, but I mean, they kind of sort of made it an official announcement. They reiterated the fact. But yeah, it says...
Did they print something to make it official?
I'm sure they Xeroxed it. Going back to yesterday's off-the-air topic. This
that everyone knows about?
From the Big 12 Vice President of Men's Basketball, Brian Thornton, the schedule got very compressed, and when you're playing in a league as challenging as ours, understandably, our coaches wanted a little bit of an opportunity during conference play to take a deep breath, and going to 18 games allows that.
So 2 buys potentially just mixed in there?
Yeah, there's been some back and forth going on, which we'll get into, but overall, are you a little surprised that there hasn't been any major news coming out of the Big 12 meetings?
No, this hadn't even crossed my mind that the spring meetings were happening. So no, not at all. For you?
Yeah, a little. I mean, you just kind of expect for...
What were you hoping?
I wasn't hoping for anything specific. When you have these meetings, sometimes they'll even hold stuff to be able to have, let's release this here. We haven't even had anything like that.
It feels like this is sort of dithered, but, pre-general conference buzz was like, I heard they're going to announce this. And then
after the 3-hour to 2-hour
it's like a lot didn't
thing,
change.
We were all expecting a lot of
Scripture's still the same, dude.
Big things after that.
Some temple announcements, always exciting. Don't get me wrong. Spanish Fork, shout out. Really excited about that one. Might be 3 minutes from my house. Cannot wait. Monday, Yahoo Sports writer Ross Dellinger wrote about the SEC Big Ten versus everybody else battle, including the Big 12, that featured phrases in his article like war and street brawl, and a perceived power struggle over the future of the sport, focused mainly on automatic qualifier numbers into the playoff. SEC Commissioner Greg Sankey said, quote, I don't lecture others about good of the game. Coordinated press releases about good of the game. I'm looking for ideas to move us forward. To which Clark Williams, the VP of Communications in the Big 12, tweeted, there was no press release from the Big 12, let alone a coordinated one with the ACC. regarding straight seating. What do you make of the back and forth between Greg Sankey and conceivably the Big 12 here?
I make the fact that there are a lot of egos involved in what's going on right now, and there is a lot of jockeying for position and control of automatic bids and college football in general. And I think this is to be expected, and it's probably going to get heightened as we get closer and closer to some sort of resolution to the college football playoff format moving forward.
We continue to reiterate, as did the Big 12, that, hey, why wouldn't it just be 5 auto bids, 4 for Power 4, 1 for the group of 6, and then 11 at large? Like, why wouldn't it?
Yeah.
Why wouldn't it be this way? But there's conversation about the 4 and 4 for the Big 10 and SEC, 2 and 2 for the Big 12 and ACC, or the 4-4-3-3, and then you just have 1 at large. Listen, frankly, if the Big 12 got 3 in every single year, that's a pretty good deal. Because last year that means BYU is probably into the playoff.
Yeah, well, look, situation. I'm not naive.
Yet, in sports, we want to earn it.
Yes.
I don't like stuff that's just given.
Yes.
Like, yes, I like the little sample at Costco don't go on a Saturday, it's too busy, but I love the little nibble there. I don't want it just given to me. I want to earn it most of the time, right? And in sports, I love the meritocracy. That is, you have to do something to get there.
100%. And I'm not naive enough to think that the Big Ten and the SEC don't control most of this.
And they've, frankly, by the group, been given that control.
Yes, and that's the
at the end of the day, they will control it.
And I'm with you 100%. At the end of the day, level the playing field in terms of the auto bids for the Power 4 conferences.
And even then, that's not level. It's we're saying you 4 are different. And now that we're in the 4, we're cool with it.
Well, I'm talking about this tier. You level that tier playing field. But if the Big 12 is going to get 2 auto bids, then let the Big 10 get 2 auto bids, and the SEC earn. If you're good enough, you'll get more.
That's the point, right?
I agree with you 100%.
Just win. Well,
coming off give it to us because we're who we are.
Yeah.
I'm just
feels
not
very
that.
old school England. Just because my family was rich and I have this castle means I'm in charge. What? The American idea is, no, anybody can be president and you got to earn it, okay? The SEC wants a very English, old school form of, I've earned this based on who we are. Well.
All right. Pro Football Focus. They have ranked and given their grades for the best NFL linebackers. You want to take a wild guess who number 1 is? Because we're talking about it.
Well, it's on the screen. So
and it's on the screen.
Spoiler alert.
Spoiler alert. Fred Warner ranked number 1 according to Pro Football Focus. Number 3 on this list, Bobby Wagner, Aggie. And number 7, Devin Lloyd, Ute.
You want me to react to
I know.
him being a Ute?
What's better, being the overall number 1 linebacker in the league, or according to this list, the number 1 linebacker in the state?
Well, it's really the world, because I don't think anyone else is really competing here. But it's Fred Warner being number 1 overall, because then you're number 1 everywhere, man. In the Beehive State, in the Gem State, in the Golden State, all the states, dude.
And for me, it's in the NFL. He's been the number 1 linebacker for a couple of years. And it's always...
he's what? First team All-Pro 4 of the last 5?
Yeah.
That gets you into the Hall of Fame. I think if Fred Warner didn't play another snap in the NFL, he'd be in the Hall of Fame. I think he only adds to what he's doing now.
No, I think I don't disagree with that. Yeah, I don't disagree with that at all.
He'll be the second BYU player in the Hall of Fame and the first defensively.
And this is not a hot take. This is universal. People talk about Fred Warner in the NFL as the best linebacker in the National Football League.
Yeah, I felt that in my heart. That feels like truth.
I'm certainly glad that you've been testified to.
Yeah, sports testimony there. Yeah, Fred Warner is the best linebacker in the NFL.
All right, yeah, I'm going to go.
He's our boy.
Yeah, but it is kind of cool, though, to see a couple of other, local.
Yeah, Utah repping.
Linebacker factory here in the state of Utah, right?
Beehive State repping, man.
There you go.
We normally don't talk in terms of the 3 of us, but maybe we should. Maybe that'll bring us together in a way that we haven't done quite yet.